Sesame Street is introducing its first new Muppet in 10 seasons. Julia is a 4-year-old girl with autism who first appeared in a digital storybook as part of Sesame Workshop's See Amazing in All Children initiative. And now she's a full-time resident on Sesame Street.
You know, in the United States, 1 in 68 kids is somewhere on the autistic spectrum. And I think almost every kid in the US knows someone who's autistic or has a sibling who's autistic. So it's kind of everywhere. And we do want to destigmatize and raise awareness and acceptance.
See that? We helped each other, Julia. And that's what friends are for. Friends are for...
But Julia isn't the first Muppet to tackle social issues.
We are all over the world, and we have these great characters that have been developed for sort of certain markets or certain initiatives. There's Raya, who goes in a number of Middle East countries and talks about sanitation and use of the latrine and washing your hands and wearing shoes. And then there's Cammy in South Africa, who was the first Muppet to have HIV. You know, there are two Muppets in the Middle East, in India and Afghanistan, who really represent education for girls, because it's still a big issue in those countries. It's interesting because families watch that show, and so dads are now much more supportive for their daughters to attend school and see why it's important for them. It is making sort of cultural, generational change, even through these, you know, shows for little kids. You know, I think this whole issue of diversity is something we really need to talk about. As a country, we need to know how to talk about it in a way that's not sort of full of fear. I think the reason Sesame Street was created and continues to be popular is because, you know, it puts kids first, and it really does try to give little kids tools for being curious and inclusive, to imagine themselves sort of beyond what their possibility might be. If you can give a kid the gift of imagining themselves in a different kind of a world, that's a great gift.
Incorporating characters like Julia in shows like Sesame Street may be one of the most effective ways to reduce stigmas and teach children about diversity and tolerance.
You know, I think on one level, parents perceive Sesame Street as being educational, so 1, 2, 3, ABC, and in truth, the show is, you know, so much more than that.